Boker Tov, good morning. Today is Friday, March 11th, Erev Shabbat Parshat Vayikra, Erev Shabbat Parshat Zachor. And throughout the week I've talked about the mitzvah to remember what Amalek did. We looked at some different elements of that, those events and what precipitated it in terms of a theological approach to it. But I return us in the end to the heinousness, if that's such a word, what is so notably awful about the actions of Amalek. The Torah simply lays it out for you, Asher karcha b'derech, how they happened upon you, for another time to analyze karcha. Vayezanev becha kol hanechashalim acharecha ve'ata ayef ve'yageya. And they attacked the hindmost amongst you, and you, at the same time, we're weakened and tired. So, what are we supposed to understand about these people? Ultimately, it comes down to this: it's an act of cowardice, but it's also what we would call a war crime. To go after the people who are unprotected, who are not combatants, and to attack them because it serves your purposes to attack them, or just simply expresses whatever carnal rage and uncontrolledness on your part. And as we're looking at these words, following the one terrible day after another, and the fighting that's happening, the war that is unfolding more ugly way each and every day in Ukraine, and we hear about supposed safe corridors, which are simply the opportunities to attack people further, innocents, and we hear about hospitals in Mariupol which are bombed by either by pretty bad aim or indiscriminateness on the part of the Russian forces, and we fear so much more to come. In the end, these are Amalek-like actions to attack the weak and the undefended, and even the ones who cannot defend themselves. That is ultimately what we are meant to fight against, with every fiber of our bodies and our spirit, to say this cannot stand. This is beyond whatever warring is supposed to be acceptable in warfare and the rules of warfare. This is a sign of people who won't live within those constraints, and indeed are only interested in wreaking havoc or achieving their ends with whatever means they can find. That is the warning of the actions of Amalek, and sadly the ones that we are seeing unfolding now. The world is struggling as to how we are meant to be assisting the people of Ukraine, and it's not simple. I know it's not simple, and I and you are not able to solve these problems, and we're trying to prevent a greater conflagration from taking place. At the same time, we're desperately trying to ensure that all of those people who are equivalent to the ones described in the Torah, the nechashalim macharecha, the ayefim v'yegeim, those who are trailing behind, and those who are simply weak and cold and hungry, God forbid, should not suffer the way that they're suffering now. Offer your prayers and offer your tzedakah to the brave people who are trying to make a difference for them within Ukraine and trying to resettle people elsewhere. There are all manner of agencies, including Jewish organizations, which are playing that role, and you can do that, and you must do that, as we all must do. I'll give you one last reflection, and that is my daughter Yonina, our daughter Yonina, was actually in Poland the past week and a half. Her school had gone on their Poland Holocaust trip, and as long as they knew that it was safe for them to go by State Department instructions, they went. And I know that one of the first days that they were there, they were in the yeshiva of Chachmei Lublin, which is the place where the Daf Yomi movement was first emerged. And they were there, and they learned some Torah there, and they sang and danced. We got a video of it. The other day, was on Wednesday. There was on Tuesday. There was an OU conference call with leaders in the community and people on the ground. And one of the rabbis in Mariupol was a painful and horrible depiction of what he's going through as he described their experiences. Other valiant and brave people. And one comment that was made by Rabbi the head of the OU, Moshe Hauer, was that they were supposed to be in Poland this week themselves, and going to and the Daf Yomi cycle of Moed was completing. They were going to be at the yeshiva of Chachmei Lublin, where I described Yunina having been a few days earlier to celebrate the Siyum, but it's no longer being used for such purposes because it's housing refugees. And that's how things can change in the peaceful side of things in a week, as the world is desperately trying to help these people who are Ayef the Geya. Play your role. We should all play a role to try to do whatever we can for our Jewish cousins and family, and all of the 2+ every minute it changes 2 million plus refugees. Our heart goes out to them. That's our response. That's our response to the act of Amalek, to remember and fight Amalek, and to represent something different, to be at the side of those who are Ayefim, being Ge'im in whatever way we can. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom, and let's never forget what Amalek has done.